a lot of people, even though we've told that story, they don't really understand. Like before the show was even a thought, before it was an idea, you know, Glicky and I were just family friends.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's not like we were like buddies, right? It was his family. Are we just starting? I guess we're just talking.
Yeah. Are you good to go?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do an intro or just...
No, I go right into it.
I love it. So we've already started. Look at that.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So you and Stephen Kramer Glickman knew each other before Big Time Rush even became a thing.
Before it was even a nugget of an idea, so far as we know. So yeah, I mean, we had family friends in San Diego. It was us, it was his family, and one other family. I can speak words. I'm good at that, I swear. And we would just get together for like the occasional Shabbat dinner, and mostly like high holiday dinners, you know, Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah and things like that. And we'd always get together. The other family were the Shaperies. So shout out. Haven't seen you guys in a while. If you're watching this, how are you? I hope you're well. And they had an amazing, the dad, an amazing penthouse. He helped build some of these buildings in downtown San Diego. And he kept one of the penthouses for himself. And he had to have a lease. He has a 99-year lease for $1 a year for like one of the most amazing, just sexy, gorgeous penthouses, like 2-story thing in downtown San Diego. It's probably 6,000 square feet or something. So we would often go to his place, and it would just be like our 3 families just hanging out, saying the prayers, and then just doing whatever the kids did while the parents talked and drank wine.
And then you both just happened to get through the audition and get pushed onto the same show.
In short, yes. We had been through, when did Glicky come on? I'm trying to remember. So we had been through 3 different screen tests. I started in the very first audition they ever had. That was in Los Angeles. I was 17 years old, 2007. And so on that same audition timeline, Logan auditioned in Texas, so shortly after me. And it was him and I, and then they couldn't find anyone else. And they said, all right, well, we'll see you guys maybe again if we do this again. 6 months later, call us up. And they say, all right, we're going to do the whole thing again. We're going to bring in, you know, hundreds or even thousands of kids from across the country to sing, to act, to dance, to pair you guys together to see if this thing works. And that's when we found nobody. On the second one, nobody stuck. By the third one, we found Carlos and someone who isn't Kendall Schmidt. We found somebody else. And it was at that period of time when we're sitting down, we're actually shooting the pilot. So some super fans know this, it's not a secret, but for the rest of the world, maybe they don't realize, we shot a $1 million pilot without Kendall, with a different actor. And it was at that table read, when we're reading it, where we had cast a different Gustavo Rock too, and he was the only character that was replaced right after the table read. So Glicky got the job, like, I don't know, 3 days before we filmed that first pilot, and it was nuts. I remember walking in and seeing his audition tape and just going, wait, that's Glicky. And they looked up at me and went, oh yeah, it's Stephen Glickman. And I went, no, like I grew up with that dude. Like that's Glicky. It was, no one else understood how it was so mind-boggling to me. Like, what did even, he's doing comedy now? Like I haven't talked to this guy in forever since I was a kid. But I was so excited. And truthfully, like none of us could imagine that character being anybody but Stephen Kramer Glickman.
After all those screen tests, is your hopes of this show happening slowly dwindling down?
No, you're hoping. It's like after the screen, you think it's going to happen each time. And then all of your hopes and dreams are just eviscerated when it doesn't. Like there's no in between. There's no slow wind down. It's like, oh my God, my life's going to change. And sorry, it's not happening this time. And then you're just like, okay, I guess I'll go audition for other stuff, which I did. And we all did. And that happened 4 different times. Now, again, keep in mind, we shot a whole pilot. So we're like, we've made it, we've done it, this thing is sick and it's going. And even after all of that, they said, it's not quite right. We're going to go back out and do another national tour, national cast. And by the way, they didn't tell myself or Logan or Carlos that we were good. It was like, yeah, we might replace anybody. It got to the point of absurdity where eventually, I think it was a Disney movie that I was up for that I got a call back for. And my agents straight up lied. They're like, yeah, James is getting this offer. We're going to take it. And we had just found Kendall, and it was like the 4th screen test. He came on board. We had no guarantee this thing was going. And it was that same week. And whether it's because they called or not, I don't know. But I like to think maybe. That same week, I told them, like, guys, I got to make money doing this. I got to book stuff. I got to eat. That they said he's going to go take this Disney movie. They literally said, oh, no, the contract's ready. We're going to move forward. So And then it did. Then it moved bloody fast. Then it was like, we got the 4 we want. We got Glickman, assembled the rest of the cast, and it became the biggest kid show in the world very quickly. It was the largest premiere of any live action show in Nickelodeon history. I'm not sure if it still is. It probably still is, just the way things have gone. So it moved extremely fast and in many ways hasn't stopped.
Hey guys, real quick, a quick PSA. I went to Coffee Bean with one goal in mind. I was craving something very specific in a flavor, and I knew I would be able to customize my coffee with the barista. I went simple, dry iced Americano. It's my base every time. Strong espresso, super clean, not watered down. And as I'm looking at all the options, I figure I could build something on my own that I really wanted. So for the first one, I leaned into it. I went rich. I went chocolatey. Make it creamy, add double chocolate. I even added protein to it. Now I'm drinking something that feels indulgent, and I made a great life choice. But then I decided to try it again. Same base, but switch it up completely. This time I went hazelnut, smooth it out, add a little caramel drizzle, and it turns into this nutty, slightly sweet, almost dessert type coffee. Same starting point, 2 completely different drinks, and then it dawned on me. This isn't just coffee, it's a customizable iced espresso experience. You can make it bold, creamy, functional, sweet, whatever you're in the mood for. For me, I just like knowing I can walk in and build my perfect flavor every time. Honestly, just go in, mess around, ask the barista what they love, and build your drink. That's the whole fun of it. And let me know what you guys get. Big shout out to Coffee Bean. In all of those screen tests, is it still the same idea? It's going to be 4 guys figuring out this band thing. You're going to be writing the music for the show as well?
That was to be determined. You know, I think initially they thought we'll just write it for them, but they picked 4 guys who
happen to
actually write music and want to contribute. And so it became art imitating life in many, many ways, where they set out going, hey, we're going to hire actors to make a show, and maybe they can play music or something outside of this. But we proved to be like, no, we're actually going to be a band. And we did. So much so we've now brought the band back as just a band for the last 6 years, and it's bigger than it's ever been. So, I mean, what an interesting, I haven't really gone down memory lane for this in a while. And what a unique story. What an interesting story. But it's fun to relive it now that it's worked so great. But the reality is, and I remind myself of this all the time, could have gone through those 2 years, those 4 screen tests, the $1 million pilot, and then back to nothing, and then got it picked up, and then it still could have not worked. So I'm just grateful that so many people fell in love with the show and the band. And man, it's been a roller coaster. And I know it sounds crazy to say this, but in so many ways, I feel like I'm just starting, maybe not chapter 2, but chapter 3. Like I have so much more that I'm excited about doing, and I am doing now.
There's so much to be going on now for your career, which is so exciting to follow. Yeah. When that $1 million pilot happens and it doesn't go anywhere, what do you think is going to happen with the show?
I mean, for the most part, you think it's done. You're like, well, they're not going to do that again. It's like, I guess it didn't work. There's no way of knowing. And also keep in mind, I'm like, well, I probably was 18 at this point. It was like 17 to 19 was when this was all going on. So while you're technically an adult, you're a young adult. So the comprehension of like, how does the movie industry work? How does Hollywood work? How does we kind of got a record deal, but it's not official, but recorded songs, like just trying to understand all of that, much less trying to figure out why people do what they do when they 20 plus years later, how many years carry the 2 decades into this, I still fail to understand why some decisions are made, why there are so many suits and positions. It's such a wild world. So all of that to say, I don't think you ever have absolute certainty in this business. I think the longer you do things, the more irons you have in the fire, the more businesses you build up, like the more clarity and comfortability you do have. Like now at this point, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, I have my own career, my own IP, other things going on, and it allows me to be less stressed about, I need this to work. But at that stage in my life and all of our lives and careers, that was it. It's like this either works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, I don't know what to do, but I guess it's back to the drawing board and I guess I'll figure it out, which is most people's stories. So thank God it worked and it gave us a hell of a start.
I think the chemistry and the magic of the 4 of you together is the reason why you were able to do a 54-city tour. Like even completing that 3 months ago, how do you feel reflecting on?
I'm sorry, we did 72 shows?
Oh, was it 72?
22 countries, maybe 54 cities? No, we did more than that because each show's a different city. So yeah, huge. Just for the record, not that we're counting, totally counting. By the way, between 72 and 75, I totally forget. We had to move a few shows around for like hurricanes and things we couldn't control. So
How does it feel reflecting on that all these years later, being able to still do that, put out a new album, people come and they love it?
So that wasn't even really from the new album. We put out a new album 2 years ago now. That was truly a tour. It's why we brought Glickman and Caitlin Tarver on the road. That was truly a nostalgia run, which we had actually never pulled that card. And all the years of touring, going around the world, I mean, I don't know, 10 times, we'd never pulled the let's take Big Time Rush the show and integrate some of that onto stage. We've always been just a band. So this one actually had no new music. We literally played every song from every episode, which was great. But let me tell you, there are 43 songs that we counted, that we tracked, that made sense, which we said we were going to do it, so we had to do it. It was an accomplishment. So I look back at that right now. It's only been a few months off the road. And I'm so proud of everybody to pull that off, from our musical director to the band to Glicky, who showed up and just killed it every night. And I never want to do it again. not that show in particular.
I mean, the magnitude of it was massive.
It was massive. But let me also say, I just played CMA Fest on my own. I'm writing a country album, country pop album. And it's hard to explain the enthusiasm and fun I have doing that. I played to, in comparison, a small stage. I had so much fun doing the In Real Life tour and all the touring we've done. Getting to play to, sold out arenas and amphitheaters everywhere is epic. But there was this pressure of not having the guys to back me up. This excitement of not having tracks, of singing everything live with just one guitar and one little mini kit drum set that I had a player on, that I feel like I've just started music again, and it is so freaking fun. So while I am so proud of that tour, I'm the type of person, it's like, cool, did that, move on, and now I've been so focused on building all these other projects that I look back at it now as we're talking about it, and of course go, that was incredible. That was so long ago. That was 3 full months ago. What, I've done so much in 3 months, and I got to say, even playing that one small show a couple of weekends ago was, I don't want to compare them because the worlds are so different. That is a pop group doing boy band stuff very well to, tens of thousands of people a night. And this is me finally experimenting and writing in a genre that I couldn't tell you exactly what it sounds like, but it sounds like me for the first time in my life. From the context of what I'm talking about, to the way I'm singing, to the instrumentation. And I had more nerves. I won't say excitement or non-excitement, but I had more nerves, which I actually look at nerves as a good thing, playing to 1,000 people, acoustically, 5 songs, than I have had on any of the shows in the last 20 years. Maybe not 20, but at least the last 5 since you brought the band back. So I think that's actually a really good thing. So, man, I look at both what I do individually and what we've done as a group as what a blessing. And I try not to dwell on any of it and just use it as, hey, I got my 10,000 hours in pretty early, thanks to this group and these fans. Now, how else can I apply that with things that interest me in life? And I'm getting to do that now.
How do you find that vulnerability of being just you on stage now? All eyes on you, it's just you and your instrument.
Yeah, I felt like when I have an instrument, it actually is helpful.
It's a little crutch.
It is a crutch, but I get why most country artists do it, because at moments I'd be standing up there without a guitar, and I'm really not a good guitarist. That's part of the reason why I also don't have one in front of me often, but I can equate it more to when I go to piano. When I'm on piano, it's a safety blanket. It's, I can talk to the audience here or whatever, and then just sit back and take a breath and all right, and then tell a story. But it's like, it gives you something to do, versus when you've just got a microphone and nothing, it is 100% only you and the audience. And now furthermore, compound that with, I'm playing songs that aren't even released yet. So there's no way they could know the music, even if they wanted to know the music. It's as nerve-wracking as it sounds, but it's also exhilarating. After you've played the same show and the same music for so long, it's not that it's not fun. I have fun every time I get on stage. I love it. But I haven't had nerves like this and pressure like this in so long. And I crave it. Like, I really, really love it. I mean, it sucks sometimes because it's nerve-wracking, but I've learned to really embrace that pressure, because when I look back at the times in my life when I've been the most nervous It's when I've been forced to have the most amount of focus. It's sink or swim. It's fight or flight. And I get better every time I feel that way. And I love that. And I think that's the thing I enjoy most in life, is continuing to learn and continuing to get better, push forward. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. That's why I like building businesses. That's why I'm doing this whole new career. I could sit back and be on vacation and not do anything, but that sounds terrible to me. So that was a long answer for that. I'm not sure if you got what you needed out of it, but all in all, it's like, it's great.
When you're performing these songs, are you adjusting to how the crowd reacts to how you're going to record it for an album?
That's a great question, and the answer is yes. And
So-
I've never been able to do that before.
So it's kind of like a test.
It's 100% a test. That's something that doesn't happen in pop music. Not that I've ever seen. I've been doing it for a couple of decades. In pop music, you write a song or a dozen songs or whatever the amount is, right? And you have a bunch of people give your opinion about, what's good and what's not. And you pick one that you kind of are excited about it. Or even if you pick one you love, it doesn't matter. You get it mixed and mastered. Your vocal is stacked 4 to 40 times. It creates this unique sound. You have hundreds of tracks, synthetic, maybe live, probably not. And then before you even release it, there's a whole game plan and a video and social media. And it's like you put out this well put together box with a ribbon on it. And then when you play it, it's almost always with all of that support, at least at like the level we've been at with pop. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how I've always done it my entire career. Like you make the song as perfect as possible. But in Nashville, and I moved there, almost 3 years ago now, that's not how it works at all. It's the opposite. People go and play songs, whether it's writers' rounds or it's showcases for new music, well before they're released. They may not even have the intention of releasing them, but they play them if they just wrote them that day to test them out, to go, hey, does this work? Does anybody vibe with the song? And I've never been able to do that before, but that's exactly what's happened, where I played a small little festival called Blueberry Fest in Kentucky the weekend before CMA. So that was technically my first solo country show. I count CMA Fest, though, because it was a much better show. But what that allowed me to do is realize, like, oh, dude, I've got this one song. I got a song called She Is, and I wrote it about my fiance, Caitlin, and I wrote it with a few people, including Shay Mooney. And Shay from Dan and Shay happens to be my neighbor. I ran into him. We had a coffee. I was like, dude, shit, I'm late. I got to get home to a session. We were having such a good time chatting. And he goes, I'm free. You want me to jump in? I go, let me check with the guys. Fuck yeah. That's, and we ended up writing one of my favorite songs ever. It's probably gonna be like the second single coming out here. But the point of the story is Shay could, he can sing anything. And he has such a high register. I mean, he's one of my favorite voices. I can say in country, but he's really a pop artist in country. Maybe that's also why I like him. I feel some relation there. And so live, I'm like, man, can we just like drop it? We were playing in C major. Let's drop it down to B. And I did that right before the CMA show, like we're rehearsing an hour before or something in the, in the lobby. And I'm like, dude, this fits so much better. Let's run it this way. And so the whole band went, yeah, let's do it.
Change it on the spot.
Changed it. We rehearsed it like 2 times behind, and it felt and sounded so much better, to the point where now I'm going back into the studio and I'm re-recording it in this new key. I have changed keys in songs. I've changed lyrics. I've added bridges. I've like 100%. When you get to play these songs live now, the feedback isn't like the fans are screaming if it's in the right key and they're quiet when it's not, but there's something internally that I can feel when it's like, oh, that sounded so good on the record, but it doesn't work live. So now if it works better live here and in this way, how much better could the record be? It's so much fun, dude. I've never been able to do this.
It's almost like more emotional rather than these are the...
It's far more authentic. I'll give you that, which is more emotional. It's more vulnerable. It's more everything. It's less robotic. And maybe that's partially because I'm independent now. I am looking at partners. I actually have some really interesting people excited about this, from heads of some of the biggest labels in the world to distribution deals. And I'm not sure how I'm going to cut that yet. But regardless of the deal I make and who I go to support this music, it's 100% mine. It's 100% what I think is good. And not everybody's going to like that, but I'm okay with that. The people who do will really like it and be aligned with me and where I want to go with my career and my music and my art. And that to me is more exciting than, potentially having more people that like me for a version of me that I'm not, or I'm not anymore.
How did you go about discovering the sound that you are now? Is that all trial and error, just hours in the studio?
Yeah, I don't think there's any other way to put that. I wrote almost an entire pop album when I got to Nashville. And part of it was writing for the band, and then the band was not going to put out another record because we did this in real life tour. Like I said, it was all nostalgia music. Nothing was original, nothing new. So, okay, we didn't need to prioritize a record. So I'm still writing all the time. I built a studio in my house. I'm with the best musicians and writers in the world in Nashville. And most importantly, I'm having more fun than I've ever had. I'm not going to just not write because the BTR doesn't want to do a record or just isn't doing a record. So I started writing for other artists and I started writing for myself. And I wrote some really good pop music. Maybe the band will cut one day. Maybe I'll pitch to other artists and maybe it will never come out. Because ultimately after doing that, I looked at the record and I was like, yeah, it's good. Like objectively, some of these are really, really strong songs, but it doesn't excite me like I thought it would. It felt too parallel to what I've done for my entire career. And so I looked around at some of the same writers I was working with who have just done country for most of their life. And I was like, guys, I know you were excited about the pop lane, but what would country sound on me? Like, what would country sound like on me? And all of them were like, well, let's give it a try. And ultimately, I've found that what I'm writing now, which is more in the country space than the pop space, but there's definitely a crossover. It's more authentic to who I am than anything I've ever done before. So I guess the answer to that question is yes, a lot of trial and error, but I wrote so much music that I wasn't excited about. And I wrote so many songs that I don't want to put out. And then I finally just stopped putting parameters on what the song needs to be and how it needs to sound and started doing stuff that feels fun and cool and authentic. And I started getting excited again. And that's the music I'm going to be putting out now.
Do you have a timeline on when this will happen?
I have a hopeful timeline. Like I said, I mean, as soon as there's some offers on the table already, which I'm so grateful to say. But I don't want to do this entirely independently anymore, which means self-financing everything. That's certainly a path for people. I do too many different things. I can't prioritize something that is just taking away money right now. And I've tried it before and it hasn't worked. And I think it's partially because I came from a group that's so big, that has so much support, that I do want to partner up with somebody, OPM, other people's money. It's a great thing. I use it in every other business I do. Why wouldn't I use this for music? So I think I'll be signing a deal in the next week or two.
Oh, wow.
With the goal of putting out the first song before the end of summer. And then I want to follow that up. Like the loose goal is a couple of singles and then an EP, because I'm already getting asked to play shows. I mean, heck, I might agree to play a show in 2 weeks from now where they're like, we need you to play 10 songs. And I'm like, I can't play 10 unreleased songs, but maybe 5 or 6, and then maybe a few covers. So, yeah, I'm a bit of that cart before horse situation where there's people that are excited about it. I'm getting offered to play shows like CMA Fest already, and I haven't even released a song yet. But I'm going to work as fast as I can while still preserving the integrity of what I want to put out and making sure it's things that I am proud of, that I can put my stamp on. Because how ironic would it be to rush stuff out and then feel the same way about it that I did about the whole album I wrote that I don't want to put out? And I won't do that. But it's moving fast. Yeah.
How does it feel with you behind the wheel, making all the decisions, figuring out how you want to take this all?
I've always found it hard to find partners or reps, managers, agents, mostly managers, because agents are kind of just transactional and for shows and incoming offers. Managers really work in lockstep with you. And there's a lot of other teammates that are important to a successful team, but for the sake of even just saying manager, it is hard to find people, and I've always found this in my life and my career, that can keep up with my enthusiasm, that can keep up with my drive, especially when things aren't working. That's part of the game. You have to put things out and fail and learn from them and put things out again. The only way that you truly fail is if you quit. I've always believed that. I've also always believed whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. And I think about that almost daily and I go, well, I know I can. Let's focus on that. And I'm finding just a few, and I don't need that many, just a few people in my life that are starting to show me a similar level of tenacity. That's really exciting.
Is that the location that you're in, the new avenue of music that you're doing?
That's across every business I do, but yes, specifically for my own music. That's where I'm still assembling the team. So in terms of making all the decisions, I don't want to have to be in the minutia of every single teeny tiny little detail. I'm so detail oriented. I'm so type A in that regard. I'm so organized. It's how I can do more than one thing, so much less 10 at a time. But I will. I will until I find those people. And it's tough, man. It's like dating. You know, you go and you work with somebody and whether they promise you the world or they convince you that they're going to be the best manager, they're going to do all these things. I used to buy into that for long periods of time. Go like, all right, it's been a few months, not a lot has happened, but like, I'll give them a few more. And like before you know it, 2 years have gone by and you realize, oh, they haven't done anything. I don't know if my runway is getting shorter because I'm getting older, or if my tolerance is getting shorter, or if I'm getting wiser, or a combination of it all. But I just don't do that anymore. Okay, let's do all these things. Show me something tangible in the next week. You have all these relationships, set up the meeting. Okay, you do that. Then you said you're going to bring in distribution. Who are we talking to? Let's get a deal on the next month. Honestly, within 30 days or something, if somebody is not 100% aligned with where I want to go and adding value, I move on. And again, it's like dating where it's tough because you like people. You meet people, you're like, oh, they're so nice and so well-spoken, and they seem like great people, but if they're not right for me, then they're not right for me. And I think that's actually a really important lesson for other artists.
I took that as a lesson. You just blew my mind right there.
It's hard because you want to be loyal to people, but if they're not providing value for you, then they're useless to your career. Then what is your loyalty really for? And why was your loyalty bought other than through promises? It needs to be bought through action. So it's something I continue to learn, but that's where I'm at right now, where I've got, a couple of people who've been with me for a long time and a lot of new people that I'm basically like, earn your place. I'm moving without you regardless. It's not an arrogant thing. I'm literally doing it. That's why you want to be a part of this business, this team. But you're not going to come in and just commission existing work that you didn't create. That makes no sense to me. Come in and bring value, earn your spot. Not many people will, but the ones who do, you keep.
With this new project, how has your songwriting evolved from where you were a few years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
I've gone into writing sessions a lot of times. Before this project, I felt like, man, what am I writing about today? Like, what? I feel like I've done a song like that, and like, what's this idea? And, especially when you're writing for a group, it's never about you. If the song starts out about you or your experience, it changes once you get other people on it. The perspective changes. It has to, right? And you want it to in any group. You want everybody to put their own stamp on it. So it becomes something different and oftentimes better. It can make BTR gets on a song. They can make a song that was like average into something so dynamic and unique because just having 4 different voices naturally is more dynamic and can be more interesting, but it's no longer yours. Now, when I go in to write, I have found that I just have an endless amount of things to say because I never got to say them before. Just didn't make sense. So that's part of what's changed is it's gotten easier. And I also just don't have parameters as to what I'm supposed to do anymore. Pop is very structured. Now, of course, there's exceptions to that, and some of the best songs do things differently and weirdly, but generally speaking, it's very structured. Country is storytelling. It's so freaking cool. And when you get to just draw from your own life and experience and hobbies and relationships and loss and love and ambitions, it's like, man, it's endless. So it's changed in that it just becomes so much more fun. And I've been encouraged and challenged by Nashville writers are the best in the world, straight up. Now, there's talented people everywhere. I'm not taking away from anybody as I say that, but I'm giving a lot of credit where credit's due. That town is a songwriting town. You don't get to keep being a songwriter at any level if you don't deliver quality music. And man, it forces you to be better. I've learned music theory. I've learned the number system, which I never fully understood. I'm back on playing guitar, poorly, but I'm back to it. This feels like yet another long-winded answer. That's what you'll get with me. It's made me what's changed, like the enthusiasm, the lack of structure, and the storytelling. Storytelling for me has really, really improved. It's gotten more fun, but I really think I'm just a better writer and a better artist because living in that town.
Have you always had a love for country?
I listened to specifically Kenny Chesney and Toby Keith growing up, and no other country. Like, I didn't love country. I was like, listen to Sublime and Blink 182, and then like Jack Johnson, and then my uncle gave me Dr. Dre 2000 randomly, and I was like, I had a strange eclectic background of music that was not heavy into country.
All across the board, every genre.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, Depeche Mode was my first concert, you know, and like my dad and my bro were psyched about it too, and it's probably part of the reason I went because they wanted to go. But I started dating Caitlin 7+ years ago, and she's from a small town in Oklahoma, and all she listens to is country pop. So that kind of became the primary music in the background of my life, in the car and in the house. And I found myself pretty quickly gravitating towards like, oh, I like this. Like, there's storytelling there again. It's like a lot of it still has that beat, but it has so much more. It's not just instrumentation that makes you like you want to dance, but you don't know the lyrics. It's like, dude, I know the lyrics and the story, and I feel something with almost every single country song I listen to. So it kind of started on this journey, and then as I really started paying attention more, I'm like, oh, this is cool. They're talking about like values that I believe in. Like, I've never heard a pop artist write a song about right and wrong, and that's okay. Maybe that's not cool in that world, but they make it cool in the country world. I'm like, oh, dude, it's fun, it's cool, and also I totally vibe with that. So maybe it's part of growing up. Maybe it's because I'm excited about starting a family, God willing, in the near future. I'm getting married this year. But there's just so many things in the country world that I went, that feels more like me, to the degree that I moved. And I've never felt more at home than living in Nashville. So, for what it's worth.
Where were you living here when you were living in LA?
I was in Venice for most of my LA stay. I had a house, actually, I lived off of Vineland in a tiny little apartment that was the cheapest one in the building because it was in the corner where it got no sun, and it was also over the garage door that opened every 30 seconds. And I couldn't afford that even by myself. My manager at the time was willing to split it with me, so we had a place to stay when he came to LA, and he took the nice room, and I took the even crappier room, but I was living here, and I moved here when I was 17, and that will never forget, like the fond memories of having my first place, and it was down the street here. First house I bought was in the hills up off of Woodman down there, so very fond of being over here, but I remember thinking like, I miss the beach. Why would I live out here if I'm not going to live on the beach? I grew up in San Diego, and when I went to Venice Beach for the first time, I literally looked around and went, why the fuck am I not living here? This is great. So I ended up getting a place down there and spent probably 10 years in Venice.
How are you supplementing paying for that first apartment here before you hit success?
Man, what did I owe? Like $1,000 a month or something for my share for that. And I had saved up money doing so many different odd jobs. Like being the San Diego Children's Choir, they actually gave me an opportunity to do something called the Pacific Rim Tour. Went to Hawaii and some other things. It was like they made money doing it. And I was very young, like 6, 7, 8 years old. But some of that money went into an account. Then I did the San Diego Opera at 10 years old and was paid, pennies, but some of that money went into an account. And then I was teaching sailing, mostly for free sailing hours, but then occasionally I would get paid to go and do that. I was walking dogs in between. It was like really this sporadic savings of money that never had to be touched. And BTR eventually, before we were picked up, they put us on a retainer. I think it was $1,500 a month, which was a heck of a lot better than no money a month. But it got to the point of absurdity. It's like, I can't live on that and you can't hold me forever. And that's when the Disney movie kind of thing happened and they picked up the contract. But between all of that and then my dad helping out when he could, that's how I afforded it.
Sailing is so cool.
Sailing is rad. I miss it. I want to actually go and get my captain's license.
You totally should.
For sure. Well, so first I'm getting my pilot's license. I'm doing that right now.
That's crazy.
It's so much fun. I literally just took off and kind of landed on my own. I'm gonna say kind of because I touched down and I had a little hand correction. There's 2 yokes, right? So you got your trainer here and the captain's here, and I'm on the left, he's on the right.
Is this a simulator or this is real?
No, this is real.
Oh, James.
I'm in a Cessna 172, like old school 50-year-old plane, but that's what you learn in. It's just like a complete, I don't want to say piece of crap, but it's a complete piece of crap.
Wobbly.
Yes and no, but it's what you're supposed to learn on. Like, I want to get a nicer plane. I want to get like a Cirrus or something. It'll still be a prop plane, but they have air conditioning and they're cooler and they have glass gauges. But all of my friends who are pilots said, don't learn in that, dude. You need to learn like you learned driving a crappy stick shift growing up. When you know how to drive that, you become a better driver. You can drive anything. That's why you learn in like a Cessna 172. It's the most common plane to learn in. They're indestructible practically. They're very forgiving. And again, I want to become the best pilot I can. I don't want to be a bad pilot. That sounds pretty stupid to me. So I'm doing it and Caitlin's doing it. She's getting her license simultaneously with the thought that, hey, if we truly love this and we see an opportunity to maybe buy a plane and maybe in the future fly our kids around and such, wouldn't it be better to have two pilots than one? So it's exciting. I'm so proud of her for doing it. And we're both at a similar level. We got like 15 hours or so clocked each so far. And dude, it's awesome. But after that, and I'm filming that, by the way, I haven't announced this series, but I'm going to do a series on YouTube probably called Becoming. And it's going to be becoming a pilot. And then eventually I want to do becoming a captain and becoming a marathon runner and becoming like all these challenges I like to do in real life. Going to be filming and doing. So yeah.
That's going to be on your YouTube channel, which is going to be linked down below. Go subscribe.
Please do. I've got a show called Unbound out right now. We're putting shows out weekly. That's going around the world doing adventures. That's really, really fun. We filmed a bunch, like 13 in the US. We filmed 8 or 10 in Asia between Japan and Korea. I'm going to film the next season in Israel. We're talking about filming a season in Mexico and South America next. So that will also be up there. I like the idea of having my YouTube eventually be like my Netflix. All the shows I want to make, from unscripted to eventually scripted to music videos to everything, it's going to live there. So I let YouTube go dormant for like 10 years because I didn't really see the value in it. I was so busy doing other things. I looked at social media as something I have to do because I just have to, but I didn't know why. I'm like, I'm an actor. I'm a singer. I do things traditionally, and social media is something I have to do. And then I switched my perspective on it. Thank God, because that was tedious. That made it feel like not fun. Like, why am I doing this? And then I realized, wait a second, this is free marketing. This is not going to stay free forever. They're already starting to charge to be verified. In the near future, you're going to charge to be prioritized. It's going to be pay to play. And when that clicked for me, I'm like, dude, I need to find a way for this to be fun. And so now, instead of going and doing content for the sake of doing content, I just go, what do I want to do anyways? And film that. And whether it works or not, I mean, it's starting to, which is exciting, but it's almost irrelevant. I can guarantee you it wouldn't work if I don't do it. And I think that's where most people end up with content. They just don't keep going because it sucks, because they're doing things that they don't enjoy. For me, I'm like, man, I want to do this for a long, long time. So I just want to build the audience, whether it's country music or Unbound or Becoming or movies I'm developing. I want to do things that I like, that I think are good to the best of my ability. And when I attract people that also like them, that is a career I can keep having for the rest of my life. So it's a really big picture, but it's exciting. Everything I'm doing, from that to writing a book, it all really feeds back into itself, because the one undeniable thing is I'm being the most authentic version of me that I've ever been. I'm being the most transparent version of me that I've ever been. And I'm showing the world that art through so many different mediums. It's kind of crazy. I think about all the different things, from book and YouTube and developing film and TV projects to acting in other ones, to this country record, to a supplement company. I brought you one, by the way. I didn't forget it this time. Yeah, it's called Everybody Every Day, and we're starting that with Caitlin. We just launched last week.
I took a picture of your breakfast today at this hotel, and I said, I'm gonna eat this if I'm at a hotel. I'm probably 100%. Not, but
you should. Well, just go to Whole Foods or something.
This is my motivation. Well, I just started my journey again yesterday.
Nice.
Actually, I have a trainer. I started on Monday, so I have 3 days a week.
Good.
Get ripped.
You get yoked.
Yeah.
I love it. Your whole life improves. You know, yes, you want to look a certain way, and that'll give you confidence and all the other things, but like, it gives you such clarity, such confidence. Like watching you invest into yourself, like paying for a trainer is one of the greatest things you could ever do. You're paying for knowledge, but also just paying for motivation to show up. Then you're going to see your own goals get met, your own body improve, your own, like, name me something more validating than that. You telling you're going to do something and then watching yourself do it. Like, it's so freaking cool. I'm so excited for you.
It's going to be great. The book, is this a memoir or what is it going to be?
Yeah, I think calling it a memoir is fair. It's untitled at the moment because we're like 6 chapters roughly in, 13 chapters outlined, and have a long ways to go. I think the title is going to reveal itself, but ultimately it's a memoir. It's talking about my childhood, which I've never really talked about publicly, and the decisions that I made at a young age and kept making ultimately to become the person that I'm proud of today. You know, I was talking to Caitlin about this, as I do with a lot of things. And, you know, I had a funny idea for a chapter, and I don't know if we're going to use it or not, which was the chapter being called, I Have a High Opinion of Myself. And then going into why? Because I've worked really, really hard to be in this position I'm in, where I'm proud of the decisions I'm making every day. And I haven't always been there. I have times in my life where I look in the mirror and go, what are you doing? And I'm not proud of myself. So the fact that I've gotten to this place, I'm like, dude, I'm proud of you, James. I can look in the mirror and say that and continue to remind myself to not only be a good person and work hard, but like so many things that I have chosen and continue to choose to do. That's ultimately what the book is about. And Caitlin, from her perspective, she went, yeah, like what happened to the little girl in the mirror? She's like, everybody used to say, like, you can become anybody you want. This is her perspective, obviously, but the same, little boy. You can do anything you want, we tell children. You can be anything you want. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are smart. You are strong. We tell children that. But then we not only stop telling ourselves that, we start judging other people who say that out loud and go, oh, arrogant. Oh, so full of yourself. When did that switch? Like at what age did we go from encouraging to quite literally discouraging? I think that's ridiculous. And so while this is a memoir, I also really hope that there is a tangible outcome, a positive effect from people who read this and go, dude, I had no idea. They're going to learn a lot about me, but then can apply it to themselves and go, if he can do that, I can do that. Or if he went through that, I can get through this. That is what gets me the most excited about writing this book.
There's a level of vulnerability when you're writing a book too, that you have to be open and honest. Is there anything that you are not looking forward to diving in deep within yourself to write about?
Very much so. I mean, the suggested opening chapter is one of the hardest days of my entire life. And I don't know if I'm going to lead. I don't want to be ambiguous for the sake of like, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to start there. But it talks about abuse in my life that I've just never spoken about much out loud. Because I never wanted to elicit sympathy from people. I've never respected the person that you just meet and they tell you how hard their day was. Okay, I had a hard day too. Is this a comparison? Are we going to battle over who had a shittier day? Like, what a terrible way to go through life. And that's how I felt about a lot of the things that happened growing up, where I went, okay, yeah, that sucked, but other people have it worse. And all of these things are great. That's not always easy to do. So when I talk about the choices I make every single day, that's one of them. I do my best, and I'm human, and I fail at this all the time. But I do my best every day to focus on the things that are fucking awesome. Sorry, do you swear on this podcast?
Please.
Great. Fuck yeah, then. Let's just keep it going. I really should ask that before interviews, because sometimes I forget to. And it's things that I just wouldn't have agreed with when I was a kid. Like people would say, like, you can choose to be happy. And there's so many times in my life, I'm like, you have no fucking idea what I've been through. You can't just choose to be happy. This is horrible. This is bad. They were right. You can. Because whatever you give energy to grows. Whatever you focus on grows. Back to that old adage, if you believe you can or you can't, either way, you're right. And man, it's been so liberating. It didn't happen overnight that I just became this happy-go-lucky person. In fact, I think I'm a relatively, not pessimistic, but maybe more naturally pessimistic, definitely much more of a realist than I am just an optimist, pardon me. But I fight every fucking day to be an optimist because that is so much more rewarding than the opposite, than anything else. And that energy, what we're doing right now, is contagious, the same way that all the negative energy is. And so these are the conversations. You ask Molly, who's sitting here right now, any of my teammates, any of my friends, Caitlin, this is the way we talk all day long. When you have problems, they're real problems. We're here to listen, but we're not going to dwell on them. We're not going to focus on the bad part of the problem. We're going to focus on the solution. And then we're going to move the fuck on. That life is too short to focus on all the negative stuff. So again, it's a choice, it's a challenge. It is not always as easy as maybe I'm making it sound, but there's a compound effect to doing it every day. It has gotten easier.
Do you have a timeline on when you think the memoir will come out?
Oh, I have a contract. So I do.
am due.
2027. I actually have an amazing publisher. I'm really, really excited.
Do you have a co-writer?
I am working with a writer, yes. I've always believed in hiring people who are better than me to do things. So can I write a book? I don't know. Haven't done it. I'd like to think I'm a decent writer, but how could I possibly be the best when I don't spend all day, every day doing that? So I'm working with a very talented writer who does. And Tony, my writer, is just, he's so wonderful. It's been such a process where our first 6 months were just Zooms of digging into stories. You're like, what are we writing about? I actually, when my manager came to me on the acting and music side, who I adore, by the way, that's one of the good ones I have found that continues to impress me and show up and be tenacious and like, I love it. He's sticking around. When he came to me, he was like, yo, dude, would you consider doing a book? I got a great agent you should meet if so. My initial reaction was, am I old enough? Have I done enough? Like, I kind of figured like maybe one day when I'm more successful, I'll write a book on like finance or investment. That's where my mind went because I invest into businesses. I really love that world. I'm very much an entrepreneur. And he said, well, just meet with the guy. So fast forward, when I eventually met with one of the co-writers I was looking at, I think I might have met with Tony, and started digging into what this might be about, I realized after like a 2-hour conversation, I could write like 4 books. There's so many things. I've been so luckily, some things we can edit out. Others, we'll just leave in and giggle at them. I have been so lucky to live so much life in a short period of time. And not all of it has been grand, and a lot of it wasn't in the public eye, but I've lived a lot of life. And we've found a through line through all of these different things I could talk about that I really think that for the first time in my life I should talk about. So I think they can help other people. So yeah, it's daunting, but in some ways it's been extremely cathartic. It's truly a reminder of not only how far I've come, but what's important. And as I'm writing this, I'm also hopeful that it'll even mend some relationships in my life. And if it doesn't in my own personal life, but it helps others in theirs, that's okay too.
Do you need to call anybody and give them a heads up about what you're writing about?
No. And by the way, for anybody wondering, this is not about Big Time Rush.
Oh, no.
In fact, I don't even think I'm going to name Logan, Kendall, or Carlos specifically because I don't, like, that's personal. I'm not doing any of that. This is not a tell-all book. This is not, I'll talk about the success of Big Time Rush. That's a huge part of my life. So there's like a couple of chapters that talk about ultimately going from who I was as a kid to, oh my gosh, this global fame and fandom and all the things that happen. So of course that's a part of it, but I don't believe I will ever write a book disparaging of anybody or anything. Because that would be going against the advice I just gave. Why would I focus on negative energy or negative stories or negative, So in terms of calling anyone, well, it's going to talk about family. And yeah, you know what? I'll probably call my sister. And she's, I'll probably pass by her some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about with my experience with her. That's an interesting one. Actually, now that I've even talking about it, hi, Allie, if you're watching this, I love you. She knows what I'm going to write about. We've been through some shit. We've been on a journey. But she is somebody that I'm in touch with. There's other family members that unfortunately I'm not in touch with that I wouldn't know how to reach, or I wouldn't feel the need to call. But I will absolutely have in the book that you've got my number and my phone remains on. And I hope they call.
Being an investor, entrepreneur, what was the best investment that you made?
The best investment I've ever made thus far is real estate as a general whole in terms of that part of my...
Rental properties?
Well, actually, I'll say real estate, and I'll also say index funds as general things that I think are fantastic long-term ways and safe ways to invest. I don't pick stocks at this point in my life. Some of my mentors and advisors do, and they're extremely good at it. I have mentors in my life worth billions of dollars, but that is what they've chosen to do for a living. I have chosen to be an entertainer. I want to continue to grow my career as an actor and a singer and a producer and all of these things. And so when I look at investments, that's not my primary job. So I'm going to be passive about it. So the investment by nature needs to be safer and more passive. Real estate, I started by buying my first house. I had a manager. Shout out to Billy Huffsey, if he's ever watching this. One of my favorite humans on this planet. He was my first manager. And he was the one who split the apartment with me in Studio City. And he didn't need to, but he knew I couldn't afford it. And that's how much of a sweetheart of a human being this guy is. But he gave me some of the best advice I've ever had in my life. One of my favorite quotes by Billy Huffsey, hope this is okay for me to say, he'll chuckle if he hears it out loud, is, "Kid, do your job, shut the fuck up, and go home." Billy Huffsey. What did he mean by that? That was his loving way, and I mean that, his loving way of saying, like, dude, you don't need to be best friends with everybody on set. You don't need to be best friends with everybody you work with. In fact, you don't need to be going out to the parties after you rap, like a lot of people do in young Hollywood. He was very parental in that regard. He was very much like, dude, do your thing, be good at it, but don't be the last one standing there. You know, don't be going off and getting drunk and fucked up and doing stupid shit. It's like, you're here for a reason. He really instilled in me a work ethic and a pragmatic way of going about Hollywood that I wish more people had.
Right from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. First of all, he's also, like, to describe him, he's Native American, built like 250 pounds of pure muscle. He was a Golden Glove boxer, so he's also like a dangerous human being, and he was a dancer. He was on the show Fame. He's a remarkable and interesting caricature of a human. And I say that in an endearing way. So unique. There's nobody like him. But it was like this guy who would say, "Hey, kid, you do this." And it's like, I want to listen to him because I believe him, but also I'm kind of scared of him. But also, again, by the way, and I say all of this with so much love, if I didn't have a Billy Huffsey in my life, I don't know that I would be where I'm at today. You know, he wasn't the right guy to continue to be in my life and my career for a lot of reasons, but he was the right guy. I mean, I met him when I was like 14 or 15 that helped usher me into this life and this career and give me a lot of hard lessons, but a lot of really important ones. And the reason why I bring him up is he basically was like, don't spend your money on anything. He's like, don't pay more than $1,000 a month. Are you kidding me? Until you buy a house. He's like, why would you go pay more on rent? That's stupid. Because he did very, very well. He owns 25, 50, I don't know. He invested everything he had into real estate and other things. So he taught me a lot about that. And now when I look back at the compound effect of buying my first house at 21, and then the next one, and then learning about 1031 exchanges, then rolling that over, and then summer long-term rentals. I never got into STRs, by the way. But doing all of that, now I look at a portfolio and go, holy shit, I actually have a portfolio. I have a tangible list of assets. Some are cash flow positive. Some are there for long-term equity growth. It's like, dude, there's no way I would have had this if he didn't basically say, you're not buying nothing stupid, no clothes, no cars, no watches until you buy your first house. And I wish more people were encouraged that way. It's remarkable. And the same thing with index funds. I mean, just as a general, like, where do you put your money in the stock market? It's very confusing. I'm a big fan of reading. When you don't understand something, go find a book on it. Don't just look on social media. That's fine. But go and actually get a level of understanding through depth that somebody spent the time to write 15, 20 chapters about. And financially, a friend of mine recommended 2 books, The Simple Path to Wealth, J.L. Collins, and The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel. My understanding of finances fundamentally went from a 2 to a 9 after just a couple of books. And I've been able to see a similar compounding effect to just putting money into index funds. I like Vanguard personally. S&P 500 is the most, probably notable index fund that people have heard about, and forget about it. So those are the 2 things I would say have been the most profitable. And one that's the most exciting is my marketing company, Fanword. That has been much more hands-on. It's been 3 years of developing. Yes, it's also my fan club on the front end. That's what it is. But I came in 3 years ago and realized that it is a data collection hub, and they weren't actually utilizing any of this for other people. I'm like, you guys have become the best marketers I have ever seen. You guys understand strategy and funnels and e-commerce and email marketing better than anybody I know who's getting paid like 20 grand a month to do this poorly for companies. So I invested into the company and then introduced the idea of them going B2B. And I'm very proud of them, myself a little bit, but us as a team, that it is now more than stable. It is now very profitable and crushing it. And they're the only equity partners that I brought into Everybody Every Day, the supplement company. So now they're like my secret weapon for things. So it's actually this year starting to make, it might become the most profitable investment. It probably will. I think Everybody Every Day, because of them, will become the most profitable investment. Man, it's exciting because it's tangible and I'm learning from it every time I jump on a meeting.
What separates your supplement company from others?
Well, the use case of myself and Caitlin, having spent decades ourselves trying to figure out, what do we take? What works? What do we actually use? So she's a health coach. She went and got a degree in holistic health and nutrition and has been a health coach for years. I've been into fitness since I was bullied as a chubby kid. Truly how I got into it, to the point where I've been on the covers of Fitness RX and Men's Health Mexico, and they're definitely not the last ones I'm doing. But I say that as some tangible examples of, like, we use a lot of products out there that we just don't think are good, or we don't really know what's transparently in them. And so we put together, with Everybody Every Day, our concept is to simplify people's nutrition, simplify their supplementation at least. When you don't know what to take, hey, we're going to tell you this has worked for us. We're living examples of it. And we combined, in our first thing, it's the Everyday Stick. It's a hydration stick with so much more in it. We combined the best version of hydration from sea salt and coconut water. And then we're like, but that's not enough. We want to put in things that actually give you energy as well. So from B vitamins to even some green tea caffeine, L-theanine, magnesium. Like, all right, but that's still not enough. So we take like mushrooms and lion's mane and cordyceps. Let's throw that in there too. So we have this stick that is like a one-stop shop for if you don't know what to take or you're taking nothing right now, rip it, stick it in water, and you're on your journey to a healthier you already. It's exciting. And then what else separates us? We have Fanword as our marketing arm, and they're brilliant.
Where do you see yourself in this space? Do you want to do like protein, pre-workouts? Do you see it expanding out there?
Protein is a tough one because you need such a large volume for protein, and it's not a very expensive item. So you have to be a very, very large company to justify the shipping cost of a 5-pound anything. These are things we're learning as we're building. We're building this airplane as we're flying it, let me tell you, and I'm learning so much.
We're building it as we're flying it.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, I definitely want to do a healthier pre-workout, no question. And we might find ourselves doing a protein in the future, but there's a lot of other things we need to tackle. People's protein intake generally needs to go up, so that is an important thing. But there's so many other things I think we can tackle in the stick format first.
Creatine sticks.
I mean, I use creatine every day. So could very much do that. But what we'd probably do is take creatine with one or two other things that everybody can take. That's the key. It's not just for men or just for women. It's truly, we want this to be safe and applicable to everybody. And if you're caffeine sensitive, we're going to create a non-stim version of this next, but we're starting with one product. And yeah, I mean, it's exciting. Look, I think we have the ability here to build a community around health and wellness in a way that brands haven't necessarily done before. Like, you put a product out to sell, cool, that's a business, but we want to bring people together. And Caitlin throws live events for a living. Her health coaching business is Complete Lifestyle, and she throws predominantly women's events from Nashville to Miami, and she's expanding. And we're doing our first co-event, men and women, with me and her throwing it for the launch party in July in Nashville. So we see this model with her bringing her expertise and me bringing mine and Fanword bringing theirs, and creating an actual community where everybody every day is going to throw in-person events as well. We want people to be healthy outside of just taking a supplement on their own. We want to give them a community of other people that remind them to be healthy, that encourage them to be healthy. And if we can actually create that, the brands, the products become secondary. We want to empower people to actually find like-minded people and community that are driven to be healthy like they are. And that's not always easy. And I really hope that we can be a catalyst for that, whether they use our products or not.
It seems like you have your hands in a lot of different pots.
Sometimes too many. Do I have one sitting in my pocket? Yep, I remember to take one. It's probably wrinkled, but I'm going to hand you one on camera. Oh, it's a little wrinkled. There we go. First product, strawberry lemonade, first flavor. It'll look prettier when you order it in your package, but that'll still do the trick. Let me know what you think.
I'm going to try it tomorrow. This one has caffeine in it, right?
It does. 50 milligrams, green tea. But yeah, I would take it,
That's perfect.
Morning or midday. That's the thing, is I didn't always want to go and get another coffee or an energy drink with all the crap in it. Sometimes I just want a little pick-me-up, and I really want the hydration. In fact, one of the best case uses I have for that is this last year's world tour. On stage, we burn 2,000 calories. We're dehydrated, so I was putting salt and coconut water and watermelon water just to try not to cramp up and keep singing, keep the energy. And then I'd want caffeine too, but I'm like, I don't want 200 milligrams at 9 p.m. I got to go to sleep at some point. And so I started using this. I'm like, man, perfect pre-stage and during show supplement.
How is it for you figuring out the stamina for a 2-hour performance? Because
You're holding it.
this.
That was part of it. And that was part of the secret weapon.
But you're running around performing, dancing, singing, playing. It's
And
incredible.
I more than most people I know. I mean, even right now, I'm getting schwitzy. I sweat, not because I'm even a sweater, because if we're not doing a podcast, I'll sit here like a normal human being and not sweat, but I get so locked in when I'm excited about things, and I only really do things I'm excited about. And on stage, I'm the most excited to be there. So, I exert a lot. And it ultimately comes down to finding your moments to breathe, finding your moments to be still. One of the hardest things, I think, as a performer is remembering to stop and be still once in a while. Michael Jackson is the best in the world at this. He'd come out and do a few things and then just hit a move and freeze for 2 minutes, and the applause would just grow.
Louder and louder.
And I have spent, man, you can look up countless videos of me just killing myself on stage, from throwing backflips to running around. And while I'm proud of that, my favorite clips are actually the moments where I'm not. So it's finding those moments, especially as a singer too. It's finding, when do you breathe? How do you sing a full song while breathing? Where do you breathe? It's that for singing, but it's also that for every aspect of the performance. When do you sit on a stool? When do you dance but not full out? When do you put the microphone down and straight up hit the choreography as hard as you can? So it's just about finding that rhythm. And the more you do a show, like the more you have a set show and the same songs, the more you find that rhythm. So I'd say the first like 3 to 5 to 10 shows on a run, believe it or not, you're still finding your rhythm. Then if you see a tour that's like halfway through or towards the end, you'll see an ease and a comfortability that you can't put your finger on exactly like how they're doing it, but it looks effortless. But let me tell you, it took a lot of effort to get there.
What's your favorite part of the whole performance?
Favorite part is getting to see people and getting to see the reaction to music, especially when it's music that I wrote, which is sometimes in the band, but not every song. I didn't even turn my phone off for this. It's very rude. It's very rude of me. It's very unprofessional. I was talking about professionalism here. And do not disturb. Thank you very much. Sleep mode, in fact. I look at this from like the two parts of my world that are most notable. Again, has been, acting and TV and film and music. And my friends who are just actors, they don't get to see their fans, really. They go and act, and then it comes out, and maybe they see some people at a premiere. Maybe occasionally they'll do a signing or something and show up, but most actors, they're in their hotel room, or they're on set, or in their trailer, or back home. Whereas musicians, we actually get to go and interact with fans. I mean, hundreds of fans every show that we actually get to hug and talk to and meet and greets, and then thousands of fans we see beyond that. There's something that's so cool about that is very unique to being a musician, where musicians who have, and especially continues to, tour the world, I think just have so much more perspective. Most of them, like everyone I've ever talked to, sees more commonality in people than differences. The more you travel, the more you get out there and meet people and see things and try things, the more you realize we're all human, versus the people that have, never left their hometown, never really get off their couch, but they seem to be the loudest voices in social media and the most opinionated about things. Feels a bit ironic to me.
How do you feel when you see people singing your songs back? Southeast Asia, South America, Europe, Japan.
I mean, some of the coolest and most complimentary things that I've ever gotten are, I learned to speak English because of your songs or because of your show. To me, that's so rad. Like, English is a hard language. I know a lot of people who are English speakers who still don't speak it that well. And to me, that's really rad. Yeah, I know you're thinking of a few right now. I mean, I used to kind of backpedal when people would ask me about like the impact that my music or projects have had on people. And I used to give a response along the lines of like, I don't know, man, I just act and sing, and if it helps people, great, but I'm not doing anything special. I have just seen and heard so many examples of how music has, in their words, saved their life or taught them English, or they met their best friend or their husband or wife, or like these life-changing moments and occurrences because of something that I created is so cool. So instead of backpedaling away from like, oh, I'd had nothing to do with it, I just go, man, thank you for sharing. That is so freaking cool that something I did is that impactful for you. And you know what? I'm going to keep doing it because of that. I take that as the highest level of encouragement and flattery. And I don't get an ego about it, but I don't shy away from it. Like, that's what art can do. That's what art should do. It's stood the test of time, regardless of politics or nations and skin color, religion. It's like music is everywhere. And it's one of the few things that, regardless of all of that, most every human being likes a version of it. And it should be that, something to bring people together. And I love it when people that don't look like me, don't sound like me, don't even speak the same language as me, sing the songs back. Like, that is a connection that brings me more joy than maybe anything else.
How often are you auditioning now?
Quite a bit. And I hadn't auditioned much in the last like 5 years because I was on tour for most of the last 5 years. So you can't really audition for projects that you know you couldn't film anyways. It's pretty rude. So I stayed in class. I have a great acting class in Nashville. Shout out Fourth Wall. And now that I'm back home and I can, dude, I just got brought on a killer agent. I'm so psyched for him, and some of it a new team over there. And then, 1 to 3 auditions a week right now. There's a lot of stuff coming up. I was just up for a really cool movie. Didn't get it, and I don't know if the timing would have worked out. I was just on hold for another huge show, and it's encouraging and it's exciting. And simultaneously, I've been developing my own projects. I'll name one. It's a movie called Model Life that I've been developing for 4 years. Level 4 Films are my partners in developing. We have a script that I am so proud of, and we're writing a novel parallel to the movie so that people have, 2 IP. People who want to read will fall in love with the characters on a deeper level in the book. And whether they do that first, second, or not at all, they'll have a movie to watch, which will be the same characters, but, 90 minutes-ish of them on screen. So again, projects like that to me just get me so excited because I'm developing this movie to play a specific role in it.
You're part of it.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm going to have developed it. I'm going to play one of the leads. It revolves around a female character, but then my character. And simultaneously, I'll be auditioning. I've got no ego. I'll audition as long as it's a good team and a good role. My team asks me all the time, they're like, you want just offer only here? It's not like going to pay you. I said, no, dude, if I want to get this role, I need to earn the role. They need to know I can do it. Send me the sides. Let's go. I love that. So yeah, a lot. It's not always easy with traveling and stuff, but we make it happen.
When you're figuring out a character, are you giving yourself a backstory of how this character has lived for you to get into the scene?
I mean, yeah, it's part of your work. Yeah, every actor has a different way of getting into their work, but you have to create a character, right? There's things in acting like called substitution, for example, where if my character is in love with somebody that reminds me of somebody in my life that maybe I was in love with or am in love with, or you can substitute and put that person, and that's a technique. But regardless of how you get into your character, you have to have some understanding of the shoes they've walked in. You got to do your best to find a version of that character that you either know and you can emulate, or you've been and you can take more of yourself into that character. But if you don't put the work into the background and the story and the backstory, then you're just reading words. And I don't know, I've been in class my entire life. So maybe there are actors that just show up and go, yeah, words, cool, said them, got it. Maybe. I can't imagine how you'd have longevity as an actor doing that. So yeah, I'd imagine most actors are doing exactly what I'm talking about. Of course, you create the backstory, and there's a bunch of different ways to go about doing that.
What would be a dream role for you to play on?
You know what? I think playing like Ryan Reynolds' younger, annoying brother in something, whether it was like a Deadpool character or something else, would be really fun. And then just generally speaking in like the action world, I think action comedy is probably my favorite genre. But playing more military, more physical roles, like I grew up, I still train to this day from CrossFit and lifting weights to Muay Thai and boxing, grew up in martial arts. I grew up shooting guns. I still shoot to this day. And there's all these aspects of like, I watch movies sometimes and go like, your fingers on the trigger, pal. You'd never do that. And I want to play some of these roles. Yeah, I'd be like, I think I can do a better job of it. It's the same energy I had when I'd watch movies as a kid and go, I can do that. And that's why I started acting. I have the same energy now when I look at things going, all right, haven't proven I can do that yet. I want to show the world I can do that really well. So I look at the opportunities in front of me right now with the same enthusiasm, maybe more, because I finally have free time to potentially book things and definitely get things financed and going. And gonna do it all.
Can we fire through some fan questions?
Let's do fan questions.
What does your creative process look like when you're just starting something from scratch? Let's talk music.
With music, usually I'll go in there with an idea of what am I missing as I'm building out this EP. What songs do I 100% love that are going on the record? And where do I want to fill in the gaps? So are we going for another up-tempo? Do I want another stomp clap? Do I want another ballad? And so when I get kind of the vibe of like, where are we kind of aiming for? And by the way, I've gone into sessions thinking I'm doing an up-tempo dance song and came out with a ballad. That can happen too, but to have a starting point, you got to kind of pick a direction. And then getting into, let's say it's a love, we need another song about love or something regarding love. Okay, how do we take a concept that could be universal, could be applied to the listener, where it's my story, but they can see themselves in it? But the Nashville way of doing things, where I call it the Nashville twist, is how do you say something that's common, but in a unique way? How do you say something and then twist it? And so sometimes it starts like that. Other times I have a song title in mind. Like here's one that may never come out, but I played it live and I'll probably play it again because it's so much fun and it might come out. I was on the way to a session and I was thinking about what I want to write about. And I was feeling very patriotic. I was thinking like, 250th anniversary. I look around oftentimes and see people just hating this country. And while I understand we got issues, we got problems, we got things to fix, I don't think that hating it and tearing it down is the way to get anything fixed. Actually, the opposite. I think loving it, loving that we have the freedom to hate it. We have the freedom to say whatever we want, but also the ability to make it better is a better way to start, a better way to go about it. So I'm like, all right, well, I love this country because we do have that freedom to not like it and many other things and hopefully make it better, which is not how a lot of people on this planet live. And what else? Let's not make it too political, though. So I'm like, all right, Stars and Stripes. And then I was like, wait a second, when is 4th of July? And I looked at my phone. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's on a Saturday. I'm writing a song called Stars, Stripes, and Saturday Nights. And it's a song basically about drinking. It's basically about raising one up on a Saturday night. And again, sometimes it's that. We just have a fun idea. It lines up. And then you go in and we ended up writing a banger of a song based on that title. So man, there's a lot of different ways. That was not a short answer. I'll be quicker on the next one.
Are you writing all your lyrics and ideas in your notepad on your phone and you just have an endless scroll?
Oh yeah, I've got song titles for days. I've got, but I love co-writes, I can write songs on my own, but they're almost always better with someone else, especially when that's all they do is a songwriter. I'm not a producer. I can cut vocals and such, but so I like having like a 3 or a 4 piece. And so I'll go in with ideas, but I never bulldoze and be like, this is the only way, because why would I be in that room if I'm not open to them helping me get better? So sometimes I'll go in and kind of sit back and someone will come up with an idea that we all go, yep, that's the one. I didn't think of that. Let's run with that. So that to me is also a really fun way to do it.
Who are your top 3 country artists today?
Ooh, it's a good question. I got to give Tucker Wetmore some love. I actually just got to hang out with him in Australia. I got to see him play like a 50-person room, which the homeboy is killing it, right? And it was so unique though, because it was his first time in Australia. We were in Sydney. And then he and his band came and supported my show the next night. And just, dude, you can see why he's so successful. So talented, down to earth, hell of a piano player. Man, top 3 of like current, modern. I like Kane Brown because Kane is just authentically him. He didn't fit into your traditional country artist, but he has crushed it and he makes really unique music that I think crosses genres. So I'll give him some love. And who else we giving love to? I'm going to give Bailey Zimmerman a lot of love. I met him backstage at a Morgan Wallen concert a few years ago, and he was just full of energy. He was a big time Rush fan, he said, and gave me a big old hug and then ran out on stage and gave so much energy on stage. And he has gone from opening acts. Now, opening for Morgan Wallen is not a small thing. To I think I just saw him. He sold a stadium out on his own, not an arena, a stadium. If that ain't inspiring, I don't know what is. But he's killing it. And I'll throw Luke Combs in there for a fourth fun one.
Favorite episode of the Big Time Rush series?
Big Time Beach Party. I got to stay in Malibu and surf every morning, and that was a lot of fun.
Where were you staying in Malibu?
I convinced them that it was too far to drive from Venice Beach to Malibu.
Big drive.
They would have been, who knows how long with traffic,
Maybe 25.
Not true, though. That's a 2-lane, 1 lane each way, right?
Yeah.
And if there's like a mudslide, I get stuck for hours. So if you want me here on time, I need a beachfront hotel room and a surfboard. And yes, I pulled that off. And I don't know, one of the little hotels down there, and I just went surfing Zuma every morning. And that was super fun.
If you got a roll out here, would you move back out here?
I would never move back out here, but I'll come stay here. I'll come work here.
Just for the project?
Yeah. No, I love California. Like, I grew up in San Diego. I would love to have a beach house down there someday. Man, if this state went zero tax, we would all come back here and buy beachfront property, and it'd probably become the most lucrative move they could ever possibly do. But I don't think it's going that direction. It seems to be going too much the other direction. So for now, I have sold all my property in California. And I'm between Tennessee and Florida. And yeah, having said that, it's still Hollywood. And I still come here for work. And I still have so much love for this town. I started my career in this town. Spent 14 years living here and meeting people. And like, I don't just hate on LA. I love what this town has given me. And I want the town to be going in a slightly different direction, I guess. Like, a lot of people are leaving, myself included. And I think it's a shame, but maybe they can bring some incentives back. Maybe they can change some policy where people want to live here again.
What were your favorite restaurants when you were living here?
Great question. There's a restaurant on Washington Boulevard, walking distance from my old house in Venice, called Scopa. Have you been there?
No, I never really go down to Venice.
That's the thing. Either you live there or you don't
Pass
go there.
through it.
Yeah. That was my thing, is that I was always wanting to go there, but I'm like, man, I got to drive there, then I got to drive back. And I'm like, what if I didn't have to drive back? That's about as far as I had to get a place down there. That logic stuck. Scopa was fantastic. What else? I mean, for just like a vibe, I did like Catch.
They just reopened too.
I didn't even know they were closed. That's how long I've been gone. I mean, it could be so douchey. And I got to be honest, like sometimes I'd leave there after like a $600 meal and still be hungry. But I'm going to give them love because it had a great vibe and I had a lot of fun there.
Catch 2016 is where James would be.
Yeah, that's about right. I think so.
Did you ever go to Osby in Venice?
Osby.
Italian spot?
I don't think so. It sounds familiar though, maybe.
It's right where that the Venice sign is, around there.
Okay. I might have eaten there at some point, but clearly it wasn't a favorite.
Is the Big Time Rush reboot movie still happening?
It's a possibility. Like, I wish I could give you more specifics there. It's a lot of moving parts. I mean, movies take like hundreds of people to say yes and millions of dollars. And I wish I could have more clarity on that myself.
What's a song you didn't enjoy performing as much as a teen, but now you really enjoying performing it today?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what's a song that's actually surprised the whole band, and I'm going to speak for the band as I say this because they've definitely said it, is Amazing. Now, I wrote that song and I always liked it, and it used to kind of frustrate me where it didn't feel like it hit as much live. And I felt it too. I don't know why, but there's something about it now where it's one of the band's favorite songs. Definitely one of mine. Really, really fun to perform. The theme song I've learned to love more. It was written as a theme song in my defense, which means it wasn't written to be sung, to be performed live like regular music. And it's always been a struggle. And we've always found a way to like put it in a mashup or sing half of it and like move on. And we still do to some degree because, again, it's a theme song and it's cheesy by nature, but the fans love it so much that we can't not play it. And now I go into it with a different perspective, being like, y'all ready for this? You know what I mean? And it's like when it hits, people lose their minds and it's fun. You know, I've let a lot of the ego go with that, where now I actually enjoy that song to some degree. Maybe not the full thing, but you know, a little bit of it.
Were you watching the show when it came out?
No.
Have you watched it back? And
Nope.
even if Caitlin wanted to watch it, would she? Would you?
I mean, I would turn it on. I wouldn't sit down and watch, like maybe when I have kids, you know, like,
This is what Daddy did it.
yeah, like if they want to watch the show, like I'm proud of it. I barely watch TV to begin with. All right.
Oh, you
There's
don't even consume it.
only so many hours in the day, pal. What are you doing? Who's got time to sit around and watch TV?
So you aren't watching any shows right now?
No, so Caitlin and I will watch shows, but like I travel so much, we don't cheat on the episodes. So it can, and mind you, oftentimes we'll watch a show or a movie or whatever doing like before we go to bed, and we'll get 5 minutes some nights. You know?
You go right to bed.
So like it'll take me a month to get through a movie sometimes. And unless we go and like specifically say it's movie time and we'll put go to the theater and watch it. Like I love watching movies. I just rarely allocate the time. I'm doing a lot of things, and I've always believed if you want to be successful at even one thing, it's going to take most of your time. And then I'm choosing multiple careers. Well, the least I can do is work a lot harder. I mean, truly, to have any semblance of a chance of success at one, much less multiple. That's also the stage in life I'm at. I have the energy, I'm healthy enough, I'm young enough, and I don't have kids yet. Now is my time to build. But having said all that, Your Friends and Neighbors, the Apple TV show,
Such
is
a good
really
show.
good. Do not ruin it for me. I think
the ending is crazy.
Wait, I can't remember. Did we watch the ending? That's how bad I'm about this. It's really good. I might have one episode left, or after we finish this, I'll remember that I've watched the end of it. That one's good.
Are you watching Dutton Ranch?
That's actually the one we just started. Thank you for reading my mind.
So good.
Dutton Ranch is good. I mean, what show is not a Taylor Sheridan show these days that's crushing? I mean, holy crap. That guy, speak about working. I mean,
how does he do it? How does he have so many shows that he's writing?
He can't stop. He's got to be doing it full time, but that's also a testament to he clearly loves what he's doing. And it shows. And there's a bit of a formula too. I mean, there's similarity in a lot of his shows, but it's because he's being authentic to the world that he enjoys, that he knows. And I take inspiration in that. And that's what I'm trying to do with a lot of everything that I'm doing.
Something that takes a lot of time, Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars, the most amount of fun I never want to have again.
When that came to you, were you hesitant just about how long it really takes in your day?
That was a hesitancy, but the bigger one for me was doing a reality TV show. Like
Big Brother or Dancing?
Dancing was first, which actually assuaged some of my concern by the time I did Big Brother. But the bigger thing for me was like, man, I've worked really hard, been training my entire life, from conservatories to performing arts schools to now working. It's like I want to be taken seriously as an actor and as a singer and eventually as a producer and director and entrepreneur and all these things. I'm like, I don't know, unscripted. At the time, we called it reality. Now we call it unscripted because it's so much more common. Reality TV could take away from that. That scared me. Like, no amount of money would have been worth that. However, I'm so glad that I did it because what I found is I only gained fans. More people knew who I was. People who had no idea, otherwise would have had no idea who I am, maybe not even cared, said, dude, this guy can dance. Dude, this guy looks good. This guy's well-spoken. Like, I actually found I got to portray myself more than I thought I would. Like, if you're a reality show villain, it's because you're going out of your way to play that character. Or you're such an asshole that you just can't control yourself, and so you're going to naturally be the villain. Okay, but that's not who I am. At least I'd like to think so. And so fundamentally, it actually broke a barrier that I had where, dude, I'll do unscripted when it makes sense. I don't want to be a reality star, but the biggest stars in the world, from Mark Wahlberg to The Rock to Kevin Hart, like, they all do unscripted shows because it's just more content. There's more people to know who they are. There's people who don't want to watch their movies, let's say, but would love to see them in an unscripted thing. And that's exactly what I found with it. So it was a ton of fun, a ton of work. And I'm glad I did it, but I wouldn't do it again.
Have you gone back to the ballroom since then?
No.
No. If they asked you to come back for like one more night, you and Pete get back together.
I mean, maybe a one-night thing. Would I do another 3 months, though? I just don't have the time or the interest. Like, I don't think so. I'm not being negative, too. Like, I had a lot of fun, and it was really challenging. I think that's why it was so fun for me, as I had to get better. I was an okay dancer, but in order to compete, I stayed the entire time until the very last week. I had to learn a lot. I had to practice after hours. I was filming a series called Sequestered on Sony Crackle. Plus doing that, like, it was insane, the hours. But things like that, doing hard things to me has always been attractive because that's where I get better. You're forced to get better or fail. And it just made me a better dancer. It gave me perspective on that show and unscripted TV that I didn't have before. It gave me a new audience. So, like, man, wins on top of wins.
When are you getting married? And if you don't want to do that one, what are you looking forward to most about getting married?
I can do both. I am getting married in December. Really, really excited about it. And what I'm looking forward to this may sound sappy, and I'm going to try not to get teary-eyed myself, but when I proposed to Caitlin, I didn't realize how that would change our relationship for the better. So much so. And maybe she didn't either. Something about that security of me saying, I want to be with you forever, for the rest of our lives. I want to build this life with you. I want to have kids with you. I want to share everything I have and build more with you. Something shifted immediately where then she started showing up for me more than she ever had. I just could never have predicted it. I'm a little bit sometimes too laser focused, have blinders on at times, very pragmatic. Sometimes maybe not emotional enough. Not that I'm never emotional, but yeah. And that was just one of the most beautiful things and the coolest thing that could ever happen, where immediately after proposing, I'm like, I can't wait to marry this person, because that is the ultimate commitment that I want to give to her now. To me, I'm just like, of course, we're going to be together for 7 years. We're going to stay together. We're going to get married or not get married. Almost would, I wanted to get married, but it wasn't a priority. It almost didn't matter to me because I had made the decision. But that's not fair, because I hadn't shown her that I had made the decision. In action, sure. There's something about that commitment of giving a ring, giving a promise, that I am so eager to see if that is exponentially more so once we're actually married, and I think it will be. And even if it's not, I'm good with it because I'm excited to do it, but I have a feeling it will be.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How do you approach doing a solo stage performance where it's just you in front of the crowd?
Well, right now I'm trying to figure out what songs do I play because none of them are out. So it's a bit of a daunting task. Every song that hasn't been released is a song that nobody knows how to sing along to, but I love testing them out. So there's a real reaction I get from the crowd, as we talked about, that's exciting. So now I'm figuring in, before I really release enough of my own music to just play my own music, do I play old songs? I don't really want to do that. Do I play BTR songs? Yeah, it probably makes sense to cover one or two that I like the most in my way, because fans will know it and I think they'll appreciate that, and it's still my band. And then maybe another cover or two of artists I love and do them in my way. So that's how I'm looking at, might be announcing a show very shortly here that I just got a cool offer for, that was again, a little premature, but why not say yes? Fans will enjoy it. I get to go and practice and try out more music. So I think that's how I'm approaching it now. The next step of it will be, what do I want fans to leave thinking? How much instrumentation do I want in there? Do I want dance involved in it? How country heavy? How pop heavy? I want to do things different than they've been done before. So the idea of just standing and playing on guitar for an entire show, even if I was a good enough guitarist to do it, I don't think that would be me. Even with piano, same thing. I want variety in it. I grew up being an entertainer. I think that's what I am above all, a storyteller and an entertainer. So how do I use this music and my voice and dance and instrumentation and some other things to give a really entertaining show? That's where I get excited, and that's how I'm starting to think about future shows.
James, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for coming by.
Dude, a pleasure. Thank you very much. You got a great setup here. I'm really impressed with what you're doing. I've seen you all over online, so keep it up.
Awesome. Thank you. Guys, go subscribe to James down below. He's going to be linked on YouTube. And music in...
If this is coming out shortly, then shortly. I'm trying to release a single before the end of the summer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys. That was great.